Hello everyone, I'm Guofang Jing. I'm a student in Middlesex University in Dubai branch. Thank you for watching my video. Before I start, I would like to tell how I came up with this study. In November 2019, when I was in my initial stage of MBA program study, it was reported coronavirus in Wuhan, China, and it was developed into global crisis, and the coronavirus was spread worldwide, and then the global ran into pandemic. The international travel was banned afterwards. As per the data provided by WTO, international tourist arrivals was below 72% compared to the data to pre-pandemic level in 2019. I was always in the hospitality industry for my previous career development, so it is of great interest to test how the hospitality industry was affected by COVID-19 crisis. So my objective is to test the impact of profitability on the hospitality industry during the pandemic as well as the liquidity. I would like to also compare the financial performance of the UAE hospitality industry against the USA hospitality industry. The literature for hospitality industry was extensive. So hospitality industry remains one of the significant contributors to economies around the world. Economically, hospitality is a source of many jobs. The hospitality industry supports the livelihood of many millions of workers and their families. Socially, hotels provide important meeting places for millions of people every day. Such a place often plays a big part in social and community life. In US, it is reported that attending the ballroom in luxury brand is rising to the top of the list of American status symbols. When the status was associated more with the prestige, like being a top executive of a large competition or belonging to a private clubs in 1980s, from Robert Sturges' study on the hospitality industry development. The increasingly international character of the hospitality industry poses challenges and opportunities to teachers and researchers in financial management. Hospitality management is related to, for example, travel, tourism, and leisure. The boundary of hospitality economic is very large. For this study, I'm about to test the financial impact on the hospitality industry. So we just explore the literature journals that focus on revenue, financial performance, and efficiencies. Hope to shed the insights from the previous works. Hospitality firms are expanding traditional revenue management practices to focus on customer value and strategic profit management. The industry-related data provider STR for hospitality industry using revenue per available room to measure the benchmark. However, hotel operators tend to use GOP per available room to measure the financial performance. It is more profit-oriented compared to the revenue per available rooms. Which one will be more developed? It really depends on how the hotel operators the operation behaviors. Rushmore in 2015 studied the cost behaviors, and it is endorsed by many other scholars. It is considered the best predictor than other models in terms of financial performance. In his study, he concluded that the fixed to variable ratios is essential to determine the break-even point for hotel performance. This literature contributed to hospitality industry during pandemic because in face of COVID-19 crisis, hotel industry move into survival mode. So it is crucial for them to bring down the break-even point to see what fixed cost could be moved into variable to minimize the risk that they face. Financial ratio analysis is a fundamental tool to evaluate the firms. It is developed and widely used. In Taiwan, in 2015, Wang implied the 5 variables in his research, like return on assets, debt ratio, the asset turnover, profit margin. The Swanson 1991 clearly stated the liquidity for hotel companies. It is crucial for the foreseeable future and introduced a method for estimating liquidity to manage the lodging firms. Resilience and sustainability situation in the pandemic for hospitality industry is a hot topic because the COVID-19 crisis brings the sustainability into a new era. All the sustainability programs has to be held because of the limited resources, and all the hotel business are either run into cash in short or the survival mode. And resilience as well. Many scholars were discussing either it exists in hospitality industry or not. In 2020, Schreller documented a related analysis in reacted to the global stock market for hospitality industry. He claimed that a significant adverse effect on stock market for hospitality industry, which lasted at least 30 days. It was not seen before, including all the natural catastrophe and other diseases in the past. Financial success often depends on the marketing's ability. Successful marketing builds demands for products and services. The marketing builds a strong brand, and the branding is a more profitable approach. So, hospitality firms, to stay up to the customer's expectations and focus on delivering a more satisfactory experience, is necessary to create a strong brand. In my study, the methodologies I used is a combination of qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. So I fully use the academic resources for researching relevant topics through the Web of Science. It returns to me 40 journal articles in the end for hospitality industry for financial respect. The data obtaining for hospitality industry is very difficult because many hotels are not going to public. So only like a small sample of hospitality firms that in the public. So only 6 samples that I obtained it from Capital IQ. Then STR, industry-related data provider, offered a 10 years data for me to study the hospitality industry to as well. I obtained the data from Euromonitors. I obtained the data of 10 years for the industry reports. For profitability analysis in hospitality industry, my first result is about regression analysis that conducted through Excel and SPSS. So it shows to me the occupancy and average room rate come together, drive the profit, EBIT of the hospitality firms. And in the between the occupancy and average room rate, occupancy is way slightly higher than average room rate from a standardized coefficient beta. In 2020, it drops to 40.5% in occupancy, which can be easily interpreted. The profitability went in half loss compared to what it used to be. The GOP per available room dropped to 35.2 euro in 2020, only 17.2% of the peak in 2015. For the liquidity of the hospitality industry, it shows from the open questions of the participant in the survey questionnaire, enhanced credit control in addition to prioritizing the account payable payment and the ability to be self-sufficient is very crucial for the continuity of the business. But how to implement those techniques in the face of COVID-19 is also a question. In order to assess the liquidity and efficiency of the hospitality industry in the pandemic, I selected 3 variables: account receivable, account payable, and inventories from the financial statement obtained by Capital IQ. So the data was pulled out from balance sheet and the income statement. I calculated the actual numbers divided to net income and cost of sales to come up with the days of the account receivable, account payable, and the inventory by multiply to 365 or 366 when in a leap year. It shows to me in 2020 the changes in working capital turnover soared to 150% to the historical high. So there is a question mark, either the hospitality industry into financial distress or not. Then I look at the Almanzette score for the 6 hospitality firms. It shows to me that some of them are below 1 and some of them are 1.5, 1.3. As per Almanzette score, it is already in financial difficulties. So if the pandemic is last longer, the hospitality industry, at least the 6 firms, will be taking into the financial distress. Then I look at the capital structures. I would like to see the leverage ratios for the observed 6 firms, how it is presented in the pandemic. And I noticed the Hilton Worldwide ran into negative equity in the year 2019 and 2020. The heavy use of debt financing in the year 2020 is quite remarkable, which is understood in the uncertainty market. However, if the pandemic takes longer to pass, the hospitality industry takes longer to recover, the liquidity of hospitality will run into significant financial distress and then lead to bankruptcy. For my third analysis result, I compared the financial performance of UAE hospitality industry against the USA hospitality industry. So, interestingly speaking, the market share is associated with the EBITDA performance by applying the data provided by STR. So when the brand share is going downward in the UAE market, we notice the EBITDA is also going downward. When the brand share is going upward in the USA market, the EBITDA is also going upward. Another finding is about Airbnb, which it shows significant challenges for the hospitality industry, as it is performing much better than others. It remains a stronger growth even in the pandemic. So from the survey, we see the strategic management has considered some strategies into the practice. For example, they reduce the scope of work and available of rooms to decrease the required maintenance. They also adjusted the labor standards, and they asked the employees to use the cumulative vacation balance to decrease the hotel's liabilities. Also, they are trying to, of course, searching for the new revenue streams. They are investing more times in the developing plans. So I conducted a thematic analysis to further investigate the strategic shift during the pandemic. So many of the discussed topic also along with financial indicators. They are discussing the GOP, the average rate, occupancy, how they're going to achieve the top line, what's going on with the employees' expectation during the pandemic, how to help the people in the moment of adversity to show the resilience together with the employees in the hospitality industry. Also, the factors that affecting profitability during the pandemic for the hospitality industries. They analyze the external and the internal resources and how to better take the survival mode into a efficient situation to move the hospitality industry as soon as possible from the financial difficulties. So basically, the thematic analysis that I performed was including also how in the USA market the cost behaviors are implemented in normal finance operation, the shareholders' rights influencing on the finance operation as well to a lot compared to the UAE financial operation in the hospitality industry. So the conclusion of my study, it is proved that the profitability and the liquidity got badly hit in the year 2020. My study contributes to the overall understanding of the impact on the profitability and liquidity for hospitality industry in the pandemic. So luckily, we see the recovery in the USA and UAE market for the hospitality industry happens through the local travel and short-term rental inspired by Airbnb success market share even during the pandemic. So more and more companies we see from the study is believe in the power of optimizations, optimizing your average room rate to manage your demand, optimizing your business mix, which is crucial for the recovery of a hotel business. Thank you.